Hey guys, how's it going? You're going to be down here with you guys. First off, thanks for checking out the channel. As always, feel free to like, share, subscribe. I appreciate all of your support. So what first got me into guns in general was a passion for hunting and stuff like that. I grew up in a family full of dairy farmers and everything like that. So groundhog hunting, deer hunting in Pennsylvania was always a big thing for us. And bolt action rifles were kind of what I learned to shoot on. And this is one of my favorites right here. This isn't my most expensive rifle by any means, but this probably is still my favorite. This is an excellent, excellent gun. This is my Weatherby Vanguard Series 2 stainless steel 257 Weatherby Magnum. So if you're not too familiar with Weatherby as a company, Weatherby is a great company founded by Roy Weatherby. He was kind of a wildcatter. He started off by making his own cartridges and then ultimately opened up his own company. They've been out since the 1950s, I believe. They first started as a company somewhere in there. They're known for their Mark V rifles, and they're known for their calibers. Their calibers are very popular calibers. They're never going to be the most popular calibers, you know, any of the Weatherby calibers, whether it's the 257 or the 300. It's never going to be as widely used as, say, a 30-06 or something like that. But it's definitely a very popular caliber and definitely a very good performing caliber, I guess I could say. It's kind of specific driven to purpose hunting, you know. All the different calibers serve their different purposes. But anyways, Weatherby came out with the Vanguards, I believe in the 70s or the 80s, and they came out with the Vanguards just so they could have more of an economical option out there. A lot of people don't want to drop, you know, a couple $1,000s on a rifle. And they came out with the Vanguards, and they were always, you know, fairly decent sellers. And then recently, I'd say about, I don't know, probably 10 years ago by now, 8, 9, 10 years ago or something like that, they came out with these Vanguard Series 2s. Now, they did a lot of refinements. They switched up the trigger a little bit. They switched up the stock a little bit. They guaranteed them sub-MOA right out of the box, which if you don't know what that means under 1 inch at 100 yards. Sub-minute of an angle. So it's going to be under 1 inch at 200, or 1 inch at 100 yards, excuse me. And this gun is proven to be a very nice gun for that purpose. I bought the gun just because I got tired of beating up on my Mark V. My Mark V is in pretty good condition. It's not beat up by any means. But I was always kind of scared of taking it hunting on rainy days. I know it's a gun and that's what it's meant for. But whenever you spend $2,000 on a nice fine piece of wood, a fine piece of art, and that Mark V, you don't necessarily want to take it out on a rainy day, on a snowy day, and get it all messed up, you know. So that's why I bought the Vanguard. Plus, it's guaranteed sub-MOA. My Mark V shoots sub-MOA even though they're not guaranteed. But I figured I'd buy this, you know, for the price point. You can't beat them. You can pick up a standard Vanguard with the blue barrel for about $550. They're not expensive at all. And I happened to catch this one on sale. I think that's what I paid for this stainless model. So it's got a 24-inch stainless steel barrel chambered in 257 Weatherby Magnum. You can get these in a lot of different calibers, even if you're not a Weatherby guy, even if you're not interested in the Weatherby specific calibers. They do offer these in like a 6.5 Creedmoor. That's a very popular cartridge nowadays, as well as like a 243, a 30-06, a 270 Winchester. They offer them in a handful of different calibers. You can get them in 223, 7mm as well. 300 Win Mags. Now, as far as the Weatherby calibers, they only offer them in the 240 Weatherby Magnum, the 257, and the 300 Weatherby Magnum. My assumption behind why they do that is because they want you to spend more money to get this specific caliber. Say you want a 270 Weatherby, or say you want a 7mm Weatherby, you're going to have to buy the Mark V, so it's going to cost you more money, you know. And if you're shooting calibers such as that, is kind of not, I don't want to say as weird as those are, but as rare as those calibers are, you're probably going to have the money to pay for the better rifle, you know, the higher end rifle. So as far as this comparing to my Mark V, I like the action of the Mark V. Nothing's ever going to beat that, at least in my opinion. But for the price point that you get this for, this is a nice gun. As you can see on the back here, you know, I have some scratches on it. I'm not afraid to beat this gun out. Obviously, I take care of my firearms good, but whenever you're hunting, you know, it's nothing to you know, bump it off wood or get it scratched in a briar bush or whatever the case may be. So that's why I like this Vanguard. You know, I've took it hunting. I've had it for, I want to say, 6 or 7 years. I can't even remember. And it's a very nice gun. As far as the sub-MOA accuracy guarantee, it's 100% sub-MOA. Even with cheaper ammunition, there's really no cheap ammunition for a 257, but The cheapest ammo you can get is the factory Weatherby, just their Spitzer style bullets they refer to them as. They're like 38 bucks a box, which really isn't cheap for ammo, but it is for this caliber. And even with those bullets, I can get about a 7/8 3-shot group at 100 yards. That's very, very nice. Whenever I step up into like a 110 grain Nosler AccuBomb, which is my preferred load for hunting whitetail deer, I'm getting about 5/8 3-shot group pretty consistently. I don't necessarily hand load that much for this gun. I have hand loaded before, but I just don't do it anymore just because it's so time consuming. Also, buying all the powder and buying all the bullets and everything like that, I just kind of have let off from reloading. But I may get into it in the future. But anyways, this gun is very, very nice. Mounted on here, I have a Nikon ProStaff 4-12 BDC reticle scope in here. It's not the most expensive scope, but for what this rifle is, I kind of build it as a gun that I can use for hunting, whitetail deer. I like to hunt long range, and I'm not afraid to beat this up. I don't have a $2,000 gun and a $500 scope on here. I have about a $600 gun. Probably for the stainless, if you had to actually buy one nowadays, you're probably talking $700. And then with the scope on there, I think I got the scope for like $300 or something, So I don't have a lot of money tied up in this gun is what I'm getting at. And it's a very nice gun, very smooth shooting gun. As far as the 257, we'll talk about that. A lot of people like to, hear about the 257 because a lot of people don't know about it. The 257 is a really nice cartridge because it achieves really, really high velocities. And Roy Weatherby that was his philosophy. The higher the velocity, the harder the oomph, the harder the hit. Also, the flatter the bullet will fly. This gun shoots a 110 grain bullet out of here. That's my preferred load for hunting whitetail deer. And at 650 yards, this is 650 yards, not 650 feet, not 65 feet. 650 yards, this gun still has over 1,000 pounds of kinetic energy with that 110 AccuBomb. That is insane. My style of hunting is hunting open fields. Now, I don't necessarily live in flat land. I mean, I live in Pennsylvania, so we have hills. But I have a lot of family that has dairy farms and everything like that. So I have a lot of open fields, and I typically, put my hunting blind up in a tree line, and I watch over a field. My shots typically are in the couple 100-yard range. I mean, the closest I've ever shot a deer was about 8 yards away, and I actually shot it with this thing. And the furthest I've ever shot a deer away was about 550 yards. So, but I do have shots ranging as far as 600. So this gun is plenty capable of doing those shots. Obviously, I like to keep it inside. 200 is probably my ideal because it gives the bullet some time to slow down a little bit. Because those close shots, this bullet is flying so fast out of here that if you don't have a good bullet, and even if you do have a good bullet, you have the chance of the bullet just passing through and not necessarily mushrooming because of the high velocities. But with a good bullet, such as a Barnes TSX or an AccuBond or anything like that, you should be plenty good. You just have to be careful and know what you're doing. I'm not a fan of aiming for the head at close range or anything like that, especially if it's a buck because you're going to fuck up your mount. But anyways, I like this gun. It's a very nice gun. The caliber is a great caliber. I'll continue to hunt with 257 Weatherby Magnum for a long time. I've been hunting with 257 Weatherby Magnum for 10 years now. Yeah, so it's been 10 years. This is going to be, this fall will be my 11th year hunting with the 257 Weatherby Magnum. So I've been plenty happy with the gun. Ammunition is expensive, but if you guys are a fan of the channel, or if you guys check out some of my other videos, you guys will see that I'm a big gun guy, and I shoot a lot of like AR style rifles, ARs, AKs, also pistols. I'm a big pistol guy. That's primarily what I am, today. I shoot my rifles still, but I'm more of a pistol guy than I am rifle guy anymore. And I shoot so much with those rifles and with those pistols. I learn my trigger control and I practice and do all that stuff on those guns, and then I just translate it over to this gun. It's not much shooting. It's not much different shooting this than it is, say, a 223 bolt action rifle. So I practice with those style guns. Also shooting pistols. The pistols are harder to shoot than rifles. So if you can get good and practice your trigger control with a pistol, you can easily relay it over to a rifle. Now I'm going to go ahead and verify that this gun is unloaded, but I want to show you guys the trigger because this gun does have a really great trigger. So we are on fire, right? Yeah, I switched it to fire prior to filming the video. So you do have a little bit of take up and then a very crisp break. Now you guys can see You know, the position I was doing that in wasn't necessarily a favorable position to get leverage, but this gun has an excellent trigger, as most bolt action rifles do. So if you can learn to shoot, say, a double action trigger on a pistol, and you go over to this thing, you're gonna be crazy accurate with it. You know, it's very easy to shoot this gun, very easy to shoot it accurately. They do offer detachable mags if you get a standard caliber, a 243 or something like that. With this 257, you're pretty much stuck to the drop plate. I don't mind that. I think the capacity is like 3+1. I'm not sure. I only load 3 rounds in it. 3 rounds is plenty enough. If I need more than 3 rounds to kill a deer, then I need to get my ass back to the shooter's bench and I need to practice more. So I have no problem with this gun. I do shoot it regularly at 625 yards. I'll shoot it at 625 just because that's kind of really pushing my furthest shot. Like if the deer's in the wood line furthest away from me, that's where my shot would be. So I do practice at 625, you know, with it. I'll fire 3 or 4 rounds through it a year at that range, and usually it performs very, very well. I usually I have a 10-inch plate. If I set up that 10-inch plate at 625 yards, if I can hit it 3 out of 3 times, I'll usually quit. If I miss, maybe I'll fire a couple extra rounds, but I haven't missed in the past 2 years, knock on wood. But yeah, it's a very accurate gun, even at long distances, you know. So I'm plenty happy with it. If you're in the market for, say, a Remington 700 or something like that, take a look at this Weatherby. You know, it's just as good as that, if not better. If you're trying to customize it and build a rifle or something like that, do all kind of crazy stuff to it, the Remington's probably the better route to go. But if you want to buy a rifle right out of the box and have a gun that's guaranteed up away, that has a really great trigger on it, and that's really dependable and just all around a nice gun, then this Weatherby Vanguard's the way to go. A lot of people like to get the Remington, or excuse me, like the Savage Axis or the Ruger Americans, and those are decent rifles in their own part, but trust me, I've had a Ruger American, I've had a Savage Axis. This gun whoops them, you know, it's so much better. If you just, you know, fork out the extra $100 or whatever that this costs over a Ruger American or a Savage Axis, you're not going to be disappointed. You know, this gun's even better than some of the $1,000 guns on the market, you know. It's a very, very nice gun. The only knock on this gun is that it's made in Japan. This is actually pretty much a copy of the Howa 1500. That's the only knock on this gun. But I own lots of guns from different countries. It's nothing new. You know, if you've been around the firearm industry, you know, especially the pistol industry, you know, I own guns from the Czech Republic, guns from the old Czechoslovakia, guns from West Germany, you know, guns from Germany today, you know, guns from Australia, you know. So I'm okay with buying out of country, you know, out of the United States. But obviously it would be nice if it was made in the United States. But in order to meet their budget, obviously they had to ship it overseas to get it made. So overall, it's a great, great gun. If you guys are interested in it, as I said, check it out, man. It is a great gun. You can get it in your 223 if you want to blink with. You can get, or varmints or anything like that. You can get it in your standard 270, 243, this, that, and the other. You know, it's just all around a great gun, and I prefer the 257 cartridge. If you guys want to know more about that, I plan on doing a specific video on the 257 cartridge. So hit that subscribe button. Also go check out some other videos. I have some pretty cool firearms reviews up, and this, that, and the other. So God bless and be safe.